St. Paul, in our second reading today, said, "We give thanks to God always for all of you, remembering you in our prayers, unceasingly calling to mind your work of faith and labor of love and endurance and hope for our Lord Jesus Christ." He's praising them for living the gospel. And we certainly can say that in our own communities today. I give thanks to you, to God for you every day, because I see the good work that you do in his name in our parish in so many different ways. And what happens is that we learn by example, don't we? When we see others doing good, then we follow them. There was a little boy who got interested in golf, and he asked his grandfather if he'd teach him how to golf. So the grandpa took him out several times to teach him golfing. They had a family reunion, and someone said, "Why don't you show us what your grandfather taught you?" So the little boy took a golf ball and a golf club, and he put the ball on the ground, and he swung at it, and he missed it. And with that, he let out a whole stream of profanities. And then he took his golf club and he smashed it against a tree and broke it. What kind of golf did Grandpa teach? We learn by what we see. There was a woman named Rosa who had many children, and she would often invite someone to dinner if she saw that they were hungry or homeless or whatever. And the children were asking, "Who are these people that keep coming to dinner?" And her simple answer was, "They're a part of our family. They're members of our family." One of the little girls in the family, whose name was Agnes, and she noticed what her mother did. And as she grew up, she had a real love for the poor and for the hungry. You know her better by the name of Mother Teresa. That's what her mother taught her, to feed the poor and the hungry. And look at what Mother Teresa did by example. We learn in so many ways. A mother was doing her housework one day, and her little boy was constantly following her around and getting her in her way. And finally she said to him, "Honey, why don't you just go outside and play? It's a beautiful day. Your mother has a lot of work to do." But he didn't listen, and he kept following her around. Finally, when she almost tripped over him, she stopped, kind of upset, and said, "Why don't you just go outside and play?" And he said, "Well, our teacher in class today said that yesterday that we should always walk in the footsteps of Jesus." And he said, "I can't see Jesus, but I can see you. And so I'm walking in your footsteps." The mother was very touched. And how true it is. Do people follow us because they're walking in the footsteps of Jesus? Do we put a face on Jesus for others? It's a good question to ask from the readings today. And the gospel talks to us about giving to God what belongs to God and to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Jesus answers the question very well. Give to Caesar what he deserves and to God what he deserves. And we have to think about that ourselves, that we are citizens of heaven and we are citizens of this earth. And we're called to be good citizens in both places. And by doing good, being good citizens on this earth, we are preparing ourselves for citizenship in heaven. We have a vote coming up in a couple of weeks for the mayor of the city, and there's some issues and so forth that we have to vote on. And I hear people say sometimes that I'm not going to bother voting. The problems are all so big and my vote won't matter. But our votes do matter. I read this past week just a couple things here you might find interesting. Had it not been for one vote in 1776, the official language in the United States would have been German instead of English. I didn't know that. For one vote. Wouldn't have been bad, but just interesting. Had it not been for one vote in 1845, the state of Texas would not have become part of the United States. I didn't know that. One vote. And then there's one that astounded me. In 1923, Adolf Hitler became the leader of the Nazi Party in Germany by one vote. By one vote, he became the leader. Think of it. Had it not been for that one vote, We would not have had the Holocaust of 6 million Jewish people. We would not have had World War II. Interesting, isn't it? One vote. I just share it with you because when it comes time to vote next week or the week after, we should all take it seriously. I know that it seems like every time I flip on the TV just to watch the news, the same ad keeps coming up about issue 2. And they're saying that, you know, they're spending millions of dollars so that you will say yes on issue 2. And you'll save all kinds of money on your prescriptions. The very next 2 minutes is another one saying vote no on issue 2 if you want to save money on your prescriptions. Which one's right? We don't really know. And I don't want to just take a guess. So I've been looking on the computer and in the newspaper trying to find the whole statement of issue 2 so I can read it and comprehend it, because it's obviously important, isn't it? If you're like me, prescription drug cost is very high, and we need to do something about that. Anyway, I'm not here to give a political speech, but just saying that we need to take voting seriously and that we should do it because it's our obligation as Christians to be good citizens of this earth and good citizens of heaven.